Right, okay, so that's the cross section of a prism. So we need to imagine like the prism kind of is a solid shape, it's going off this sort of direction, and that's what the cross section is. So like that's what it looks like at the end. Okay? And the length of the prism is 2 meters. So the first thing we need to do is work out the volume of the prism. So in terms of doing that, I am going to split the cross section into 2 rectangles. Okay, the area of this rectangle is 2 multiplied by 7. They're my length and width, so that's 14. Okay, now to work out the area of this one here, well, I know that this length is 2, all right, but I need to work out this length here. Okay, now this part was 2 centimetres. This is a rectangle, so it's the same as this length up at the top. And the whole of this bottom part here is 7, okay? Which means that if this part here is 2, then the rest of this rectangle must be 5. So I'm going to do 5 times by 2, which is 10, okay? So, I've then got the area of the cross section is the area of those 2 rectangles added together. So that's 14 and 10, which is 24 centimetres squared. Okay. And then to work out the volume, I'm going to take that area and multiply it by the length. Now, the length here says it's 2 metres, which is the same as 200 centimetres. Okay. So what I'm going to do, the volume is going to be this area of the cross section we had here, 24, multiplied by the length of the prism, which is 200. Okay, so 24 times 2 is 48. So 24 times 200 is 4,800 cubic centimetres. Okay, so that's the volume. Excuse me. Then we can have a little bit of a think about this bit. The density of the metal is 8 grams per centimetre cube. So that means that 1 centimetre cube weighs 8 grams. Okay? So we've now got to work out, if we've got 4,800 centimetres cubed, we've got to work out how much that weighs. Okay? So, to do that, we're multiplying these 2 together. Each centimetre cubed, each cubic centimetre weighs 8 grams, so I need to do 8 times 4,800. Okay, so I'll do that over here. 4,800, multiplied by 8. 4 8s are 32, and that 6 is 38. So that is going to be our answer. So 38,400 grams. Okay. Now on this one, on the answer line, it didn't actually leave. It didn't give you any units on it. So you either would get a mark. Well, you're going to get a mark for writing the units on there as well. So we can either leave it like that as grams, or we could write it as kilograms. 38.4 kilograms. Okay, and that is your answer to question 16. Right, number 17. Let's move on. There we go. Oh, gone too far. Right. Sorry, question 17 then. 50 counters in the bag, so I think we're going to need that number at some point. Counters are blue, yellow, black or white. And you've got some probabilities here. So we know that the total of our probabilities needs to equal 1. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work out this missing probability here. So I've got 0.4, 0.3 and 0.16. If I add those together, they make 0.86. So to get from 0.86 to 1, I need to have 0.14, so that's going to go in there. Okay, so that's the probability of picking the yellow one. Now, it doesn't want us to work out the probability, it wants us to work out the number of them. So, I'm going to take the number of counters that are in the bag, that's there, that's 50. I'm going to multiply it by 0.14. Okay? And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to multiply them as if they were whole numbers first, and then we'll figure it out from there. So 14 times 5 is 70. Excuse me. Okay? So 14 times 5 is 70. Then I can adjust it from there. If I do 50 times 14, it's going to be 700, yeah, because the 50 is 10 times bigger than the 5. Okay? So if I then want to work out 50 times 0.14, the answer to that is going to be 7. Okay? Because what we've done, so like here I multiplied by 10, so I need to multiply my answer by 10. And then the difference between 14 and 0.14 is I've divided by 100 there. So I need to divide my answer by 100 there. Okay? So that is your answer to the question. The question, how many yellow counters are in the bag? The answer is 7. Okay? And that's question 17. Right then, question 18. Work out an estimate. So notice it says estimate, that means we are not working out the exact value, we are just going to estimate the answer, okay? And the way we're going to do it, we're going to round everything to one significant figure. Okay, so 6.8 to one significant figure is 7. So we've got 7 multiplied by 191 rounds to 200, I'm going to round it to one significant figure. So that's the first significant on the 6.8, that's the first significant figure on that number, and the denominator, there's the first significant figure there. So that's going to be 0.05. Okay, so that's the calculation that we need to work out. Now, 7 times 200 is 1,400, and we need to divide that by 0.05. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some equivalent fractions. If I multiply both of those numbers by 10 to get an equivalent fraction, then I'll have 14,000 divided by 0.5, and then if I double them both, I'm going to have 28,000 divided by 1. So the answer is 28,000. Okay, so I used equivalent fractions because I don't like dividing by a decimal. Okay, so I've used some equivalent fractions to make it a little bit easier, so that I've got a whole number on the denominator of my fraction. Okay, and I've tried to get it to 1 so I didn't have to do lots of cancelling down. So that's your answer for that one, 28,000. Okay, and then finally, number 19. The normal price of a TV is reduced by 30% in the sale. The sale price of the television is £350. Work out the normal price of the television. Okay, so we know that the normal price take away 30% gives us the sale price. Okay, so that sale price is 70% of the normal price. Okay, so we've got £350 is 70%. And all we have to do is get back to 100. And that's what we've got to do. Okay, so £350 is 70%. Now, 70 doesn't go into 100, so I'm going to have to kind of have a middle step in between so that I can get to 100%. Okay, so let's think about this. What number goes into 70 and 10? What's the highest common factor? It's going to be 10. Oh, sorry, 70 and 100. I gave the answer away there. Never mind. So to get from 70% to 10%, I'm dividing by 7, and then once I've got 10%, I can multiply by 10 to get 100%. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing over here, okay? I'm going to divide by 7, and I'm going to multiply by 10. So, 350 divided by 7, you can't work it out straight away, you can use a bus stop. 3 divided by 7 is 0, so that 3 left. 35 divided by 7 is 5. So there we go. Okay, so £50 is going to be 10%, which means if I then multiply by 10, £500 is 100%. Okay, so that's the normal price of the TV. It's £500. Okay, and that's it. That's question 19 done.